LibFems who support the trans agenda, basically. They need to wake up. They need to wake up and realize that this movement has been overrun with dudes who just have a fetish and who are confused, and they think that because they have a fetish that makes them a woman. Your liberal feminism is just a pseudo feminism. You need to listen to older feminists. They know what the fuck they're talking about. They did lots of work. They've done lots of work. They've figured a lot of shit out. Why would you not listen to them? Why would you cut yourself off from a wealth of information that other women before you have worked really hard to figure out for you to benefit you? You know why you're cutting yourself off? Because you've been convinced that these older women, these older feminists, don't know what they're talking about. They don't have anything valuable to share. And their information is, quote, outdated, quote, which is really ridiculous, because when you read, if you actually read feminist materials from the 60s, feminist materials from even before that, okay? This has been going on for a very long time. The battles that women fight today are the same battles they were fighting back then. It hasn't changed. It hasn't gotten that much better. It hasn't gotten better. Everything that our four sisters wrote is still relevant today. It is still relevant. And that is a disheartening truth, but it is the truth. Every new generation of women, every new generation of feminists has to reinvent the wheel, because we have been foolishly convinced to cut ourselves off from this wealth of information from the women who've come before us, what they figured out, what they've written about, what they've achieved. The younger generations of women have been convinced, not only convinced to ignore it. I mean, first of all, we're not even told about this information. We don't even know about it. I grew up not even knowing anything about it. But now that we live in a time when a lot of these older feminist writings are being brought back out into the light, out into the, to the awareness, a lot of younger women, a lot of these pseudo-feminists, liberal feminists, they're really just pseudo-feminists. They've been convinced not to take any of this into consideration. You have to realize this is propaganda. This is propaganda that is specifically designed to cut younger females off from the wisdom of older females. Because any group of people cut off from the elders, are going to be easier to control and manipulate. And that's exactly what's happening with you LibFems right now. You're being completely fucking manipulated by these dudes, these dudes who think they're women because they get boners when they put panties on. Like, they think that makes them a woman. Like, how fucking ridiculous is that? And you believe this shit. You believe this. These dudes who, like, think that because they're aroused by putting on feminine clothing, that makes them female. Like, they're very confused dudes. But the fact that they're confused is not going to stop them from exercising their privilege to define what woman is, to define what that means, because men get to do that. Men have always been able to do that. They've always been the ones who get to define womanhood. Femininity itself is a construct that men invented. What femininity is has actually nothing to do with females. What femininity is what females are supposed to be in the mind of a male. Femininity is what men think of as they think what women should be when they imagine what a woman should be for them. You know, it's based on this assumption that women exist for men, first of all, and then once men are like, well, obviously women exist for us, what are women supposed to be for us? They're supposed to be this thing called feminine, and all of the different things that we define as feminine, it's an invention. It's a male invention. Femininity actually has no fucking thing to do with femaleness or womanhood. That's the truth. Yet they're using these ideas of femininity now that these ideas of femininity have been so fused with femaleness because we've been defined by them so much that we even identify ourselves as feminine. We've been taught to. We've been brainwashed into it. That now they, males, get to just, start being feminine, and then they think that then in fact makes them female. And it's so completely backwards. It's so completely backwards. I don't know how you younger LibFems don't see it. More and more of you are seeing it. I don't know how else to get through to younger women who have fallen into this trap. And it's the same fucking trap every generation of young women falls into. Though it's a little more crazy right now because there is so much opportunity for younger women to connect to these older feminist writings. Because, like, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I didn't know anything about them, like I said. Didn't even know who these women were. Mary Daly, Andrea Dworkin, Kate Millett. Any of these feminists prominent, that have done a tremendous amount of work to help feminism and women, I didn't even know about. I never even heard those names. I took women's studies in college, never even heard those fucking names. You know what I mean? But now, this information is easier to come by, and it's being discussed out there. This information's being unearthed, right? Rediscovered by a newer generation of women. And the younger generation, the women in their 20s, actually have opportunities to read this stuff, to connect with this stuff, but they've just, again, they've been colonized. Their minds have been colonized, and they've been convinced to to even look into the information themselves is like blasphemy. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. I hope that more and more of you wake up, but don't cut yourself off from your four sisters and the wisdom that they have to offer you, because they really do care about you. They've done so much work to help women, to help you. I'm not going to say that you owe them, but I'm going to say that you owe yourself. You owe yourself, in the very least, to look into this. Because it's like, oh, you've been brainwashed against, like, your own good. Why do you think they demonize older women so much? Why do you think they demonize older feminists so much? Why do you think they demonize feminists so much? Because there's actual information that these older feminist writings have, and the older feminists have, that is actually threatening to the patriarchy, because they figured some shit out. They figured some shit out. Women could do a lot if more of us were on board with this and more of us woke up to see this, but they get us when we're young, right? Show us all those fairy tale movies, read us all those fairy tale stories about all the evil old witches, the old women that just are hateful and want to hurt us poor, pretty young women, poor, pretty young girls. And it's a whole lot of bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Designed to keep younger women cut off from a wealth of information and knowledge that would help them be empowered. That would help them wake up and realize that they don't exist to service men, actually. But that's exactly what men don't want. They don't want the young ones especially to stop servicing them.